Hello and welcome to this month's Better Business webinar. And we are going to look at changing the numbers, how to deliver advisory services for success. So this is a quick whistle-stop tour of some of the things that are covered in my book of the same name. For those who don't know me, I'm Della Hudson. I am the founder of 2 accountancy practices, plus 3 other businesses. And we do advisory as much as possible because I truly believe that's how, as accountants, we can add value to the business. I would say I'd much rather have clients paying more tax because they've made more profits. That way everybody wins. They get to take more home as a reward for their hard work. The country gains more in taxation, job creation, all sorts of things like that. So it's a truly wonderful thing to be able to change the numbers and help businesses to do better as a result of their hard work. So we have the benefit of being analytical people. We can look at everything that objectively. And we also have the business experience to be able to add to that. I also have a coaching qualification, which helps me to help clients get the most out of that. Now, before we get into it, I need to say I've got builders on the roof today. We are in the penthouse, and after 18 months of living here, they've finally got around to sorting some problems. And it happens to be the day I'm trying to record a webinar. So we'll work with it. Hopefully the microphone is a good enough quality that we can work around that. So what is advisory? So many people, especially accountants, they see advisory as tax advice. That's a tiny, tiny bit of it. I should hope we can give tax advice. We can usually advise people on how to find funding for things like that. We can do the numbers to help them forecast in their business, prepare business plans, whatever. But we want to actually change the numbers. I want to change the profit, not just the tax. The tax for me is not quite an afterthought because you do like to plan ahead. But let's start being a bit more proactive, shall we, and helping businesses to make more money. And I especially like that in owner-managed businesses, because you see what the owners are doing. You know, you see the fabulous holiday they've been on with their kids, or whatever it is that they're passionate about, the new guitar or whatever. So advisory to me covers so much more than just the tax advice. So we look at the pricing to make sure they've got the optimum pricing, the systems in their business to make sure they're working more efficiently. We look at their marketing to make sure they've identified the right target market, competitor analysis, things like that. Cost control, of course, comes with that. The tax, cash flow, can they afford to do what they need to do, and also do they need to take on funding to bridge little gaps in it, or maybe a longer term loan. If they're preparing for sale, we help them to increase the value of it, both by increasing the value of the balance sheet, the profitability, but also helping the business owner to work themselves out of the business, because that's a much more saleable business. And that's a lesson for ourselves as well. If you're busy hands-on, then your business is less saleable than if it runs itself, which is the ultimate dream. They never quite run themselves, but it's getting to that stage and helping them to have the work-life balance. Somebody came to, they were working far too many hours, and one of my lovely testimonials is that his wife had noticed that he was whistling again. And somebody else was able to get home and do bath time and bedtime with his kids. And I love, that's the difference that we can make. Now, we have lots and lots of software providers telling us that compliance is dead. And people are fearful that AI means that compliance work is dead. Well, we all know the limitations of technology. It's not going to take over our jobs. But what we should be doing is utilizing that technology to do the stuff that technology can do well. We delegate to technology the same way we would delegate to a junior. You keep an eye on it, you try make sure it's the right stuff, you train properly, and then you keep an eye on it. And then we get to do all the interesting stuff on top of that, the judgmental stuff, understanding what clients really want. Because, you know what's like when you Google something, or when you do use Copilot or whatever, and if you don't put in the right prompt, you get nonsense back. So we are able to sort of draw out of clients what they really, really want. Why did they start their business? And most small businesses, it's not just about money. And if it is about money, it's what it enables. So we're probably all already delivering a fair amount of advisory work. But how can we deliver it affordably? You can do it one-to-one is absolutely great, but our smallest clients can't afford that. So how can we do it affordably? Well, it's one-to-many. We do our weekly top tips. We do a monthly Money Matters webinar for our clients, along the line of these Better Business webinars, but targeted at business owners rather than accountants and bookkeepers. So we are able to talk to lots of people in one go. We have help sheets on all the common problems. If a client asks a question that we think might be asked again, we write a help sheet. We don't just reply in an email. It's, and here's our help sheet on the topic. And that's not just me who creates the help sheets, that's my team as well. And sometimes it's simple text inquiries, sometimes it's other things about how to optimize the best way of extracting profit from the business in the form of salaries versus dividends. So one-to-many is the way, standard preparations is the way. And quite often it's only the most senior person in the business who offers this. So there is some good software out there that can help. We use Clarity HQ. It's really good. It focuses on 7 key indicators, and it's got AI, which will also help prepare you. It's got a program to follow, what you do at each meeting. It's got scripts. It's got AI to help you analyze that. To me, that's the only true advisory software out there. I would still say you want it to be an accountant who's been around the block a bit. So they don't need to be a particular business advisor because there are so many prompts in it, but they need to have been around the block and seen enough of life, business, whatever. I wouldn't trust it to your new starters at this stage. So one-to-many technology like Clarity HQ, and that also helps if you don't have experienced business advisors. However, it might be that you choose to outsource it. So you can work with a pet business coach. We will also do that. We'll white label our advisory services for you so that they can come to us for the advisory. So instead of Minerva Accountants giving the advice, it will be your company, and we'll deliver it as Hudson Business Advice. So separate business. You can get a lot of core stuff. We will white label our Growing by Numbers course, and the Gap also have a lot of really useful materials that you can use. So it's not just me who does it. There are other companies out there like the Gap. But how do you market it? You need to have a clear marketing strategy. It won't be right for all your clients. And this is why we started off running our Money Matters originally as live in-person things with Hudson accountants many years ago. Once a quarter, we would hire a venue and we would provide myself, a guest speaker, and a bit of networking and some tea and coffee. It used to cost an awful lot. Since COVID, prices have gone up even more, and people are not so keen to meet in person still these days. Oh, excuse me, I've got a cold. So I should be wiping my nose. Either that or I'll be sniffling like a toddler. So we've now moved that online, and I mentioned we do our monthly Money Matters webinars, series of topics on that. We are looking at doing a podcast as well, but we'll do that separately. That's for discussion tomorrow we do our 90-day planning session, and that's what we're going to be looking at tomorrow. Sorry. Shouldn't tell you these things until they're actually coming out, and now I feel committed to it, or we're still on an amber whether we do it or not. So how to market advisory services. So you need to figure out who your target market is. And you've probably got one or two clients where you can see that's the real sweet spot. So you design all your marketing around that client. Like any marketing, you focus in to a very narrow persona. You work out who you're marketing to, and all your marketing content, whether that's video, audio, or written, is all geared at this individual. So if you read the Numbers Business book and it spoke to you, then you are very like the two individuals I wrote that with. I wrote that with them in mind. So you're very like one of those two people, which is why it spoke to you. And changing the numbers as well. You're probably like the other accountants, bookkeepers that I've helped with this. So being clear on who your target market is and turning that into a persona, and all your marketing is addressed to that individual. So useful resources I've already spoken to. Sorry, forgive me, I always jump ahead of my slides because I just get talking and chatting and things like that. So if you're new to it, then I would look at Clarity HQ, the software that will help you with that. And then you can get resources from me through such as Growing by Numbers, as either a program or coaching that can be white labeled. 2020 do some stuff, and the Gap do some stuff as well. So there's all sorts of other software that purports to be about advisory, but basically it's just helping you to do management accounts, cash flow forecasting, which is useful in itself, but I consider that to be pre-advisory. So that's still just showing them the numbers. It's not actually helping them to change those numbers, which is where the real value comes in. So can software help? I think the right software can. You would use it to analyze things. So there's an element of some software has a sort of dashboard where you can see key numbers on all your clients. So Capitalize will pull through all your clients who might need funding. Satago will pull through debtor statistics and so on for your clients, so you can see if they need cash flow cash flow and credit control advice. Centre's got some useful numbers as well. So how do you make it profitable? Because we're probably all already offering a fair amount of this. And this is what we do on the Simple Advisory course, is we help you. We've got scripts for it, but essentially you need to stop, and every time somebody asks for advice, instead of just saying yes, you say yes and. Yes, and that will cost you. And you can either give them a fixed fee, you can give them an hourly rate, whatever. So you need to be clear on the potential ways that you can be helping clients with that. What is your advisory offering? So we need to make sure that you've got that worked out, and then prepare all your marketing material so that when you're asked the question, you're there. And Copilot is quite good. If you drop details of your advisory offering in there, it can help you come up with some useful scripts. Or as I say, we do them as well on the Simple Advisory workshop. And how do you price advisory? Once you've stopped and done the yes and, you have to give them a price. Well, it's not like compliance. Compliance is just very standard, and you know how much it's going to cost to take them from a trial balance to a set of accounts, or from a bunch of invoices to a trial balance, whatever your sweet spot is. Advisory is so open-ended, and advisory produces real benefits. It's not just compliance keeps people legal. Advisory is really useful. It will add value to their business. So work out how much value it will add to their business. If you can increase their turnover by £10,000 a month, a £5,000 fee is nothing. It's only half of what you're going to get them per month. So have a look at the value you create and price according to that. This is I know people talk about value pricing, but it's limited how much you can value price compliance, whereas advisory, there's a clear benefit to them. And that's part of your discovery call whenever anybody talks to you about business advice, is that you work out what they want to achieve, the benefits of achieving that, and that will allow you to set your price. This is the really useful stuff. And this is why people say we should be moving to advisory. It's much more profitable, and it's the bit that can't be done so easily by software. It can be helped by software, and I've given you some clues on that, but we need to be making sure that we are really doing that. So how do we recruit and train advisors? I would say you are looking at recruiting advisors, not accountants. You're training advisors, not accountants. So accountants tend to be a very detailed historical mindset, and some of them really struggle to get out of that, away from the numbers, to look at actions. So I would say our strength is that we can use the numbers to identify actions. We can use the numbers to measure that our advice has actually worked, which is where we can do so much more than business coaches. But I would say a lot of advisory sessions, I don't discuss numbers at all, but we can show the benefits. It's all focused around problem resolution actions. So it's getting people to think about communication. So asking the right questions to find out what the client really wants, what the real stumbling blocks are, and then helping them to work out the correct actions. So you can use a coaching technique to pull out those questions a lot better, to pull out the information and the solutions that the client knows, and then the business advice technique is putting in additional input. So I tend to use a mixture of coaching, mentoring, and business advice. So the purists would separate those into 3 separate things. I just lump them all together because why wouldn't you? Why would you insist on using one technique when you have a whole lot of tools in your toolbox? So who are your competitors? Well, you might think it's other accountants who offer advisory. So yes, maybe. It's business coaches. How many people see a fee for a business coach going through the client's accounts and think, I wish I'd got in there first? And this is why, even for your smallest clients, I would say, let them know that you offer business advice services, that you offer coaching. You know, I'm not just an experienced businesswoman, an entrepreneur, a practice owner, an accountant. I am also a qualified business coach and mentor. So making sure that that message comes across to your clients so they don't go and look elsewhere just because they don't know. It might be that they want a particular expert rather than you. That's fair enough. But don't let them go and find a business coach just because they don't realize that you do that. So make sure your clients know. That way, that differentiates you from other accountants who don't offer it. We're trusted advisors. People often come to us, but they don't necessarily see us as business coach type people. The business coaches, as I've said, often they're not able to validate the value of their advice in terms of numbers, whereas we can do that. There are people who think they can do it themselves. And that, I would say, is the biggest competitor. It's clients who think they can do it themselves. They'll pay for courses, they don't implement, they'll pay for books, they don't read, or if they read, they, again, don't implement them. Excuse me. So let's make sure clients are there. And part of the coaching, the business advice, is the accountability that makes sure they actually do that. And I actually, part of my charging structure for my coaching is to make it expensive enough that people are going to do the work to get the value that we've identified. So, you know, if you charge 50p an hour, people aren't going to take it seriously. And much the same if you're just throwing away your advice free of charge. So if you charge something, people are likely to actually do something about it with a bit of accountability. But the one thing I would say is that you must do it in your own business first. We are setting examples. So, for instance, when we do our annual pricing increase, and we do an annual pricing increase, in the letter where we tell the clients that it's going up by whatever amount per year, we also say, and we also recommend that you increase your prices. And here's a webinar that we're doing on the topic, or a recording of a webinar that we've done on the topic that will help you to increase your prices. So we model good business practice, which means that we do charge for coaching, we do charge for advice and things like that. So what have we got to help you? Well, the free one, there's a bonus book. So if you want to scan that QR code, you can get a free copy of Changing the Numbers, which is my award-winning book on delivering advisory services. So have a quick scan of that. And then the other thing we have is our Advisory Made Simple workshop. So the next one is running on Friday, the 12th of June, which is incidentally my brother's birthday. And we had so much feedback from our first course last month that I wanted to get another date in the diary for you. So I'll send out some information in the follow-up email on what that is. That's because Kate, I was going to say Kate hasn't set it up yet. I forgot to ask Kate to set it up with all the information. So she needs to set up the new event for people to register. So hopefully she's been really efficient and done that, even though I forgot to ask her until the last minute. But we'll send you out the link to that and some more information about it. That's all I've got to talk about, changing the numbers and how to deliver advisory services for success. Hopefully that's provided some value to you, even if you don't come along to the workshop. But with the workshop, you'll get templates, you'll get scripts, you get a chance to ask questions and to practice and things like that. And so you're not doing it for the first time live to your clients. So take a copy of the book, and I shall hopefully see you on the course.